Call the council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. All right. Oral meeting, January 26th. Okay. January 12th, 2021 minutes. Deal with that one first. We'll go backwards. Can't see anything needs to be changed there. Okay. Martin, I don't know if you had time to look at it.
Yeah, I did. Well,
Did you see anything? You want to entertain a vote to accept the next? As presented?
Make a motion to accept the January 12th minutes as accepted.
Second. With the second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passed unanimously. December 29th minutes. Same issues, anything? Is it accurate?
They've been changed. Charlie caught one.
No, I think.
I make a motion, we accept the January 29th minutes.
Second.
Motion seconds, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye, all opposed, passed unanimously. All right, we have a few bills to pay.
I did write them down. It's OTEC, Stage Shop, and the ladies who cleaned the roof of the museum. Those are the checks.
How much was the snow removal?
$450. It was $250 and $150.
So 400,
400.
400.
That's the clean what, the museum?
Museum, yeah.
I don't have a total on OTEC.
Okay, yeah, it's, I mean, it is what it is. You get state.
I mean, I can pull it up on there. Yeah, Stage Shop was 9 and change.
Is the museum paying for that?
No,
No,
well, I don't know if the museum is, but the Baker Library is not.
Baker Library is not.
Okay, what
It's
is,
all part of building maintenance.
that was asked, I think you asked me that earlier. Oh, I was gonna ask you our contract, I haven't looked at it. Does the library pay for part of this?
We have shared the association of the library does, and the museum has paid half of it in the past on that. So she gives the bill.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we need to, so we can go ahead and pay that.
Yeah, we
Association.
can give you a check. We just need an invoice.
Okay. All right. So those three bills, entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, passed unanimously.
can you get prisoners to do that?
I'm sorry, Mark.
Do you get prisoners to shut it off?
You know, I don't know, we haven't checked into that.
Not with the COVID problem.
Don't we have to pay the prisoners?
Yeah, but it's like $8 an hour or something.
Yeah, it's really cheap,
Yeah.
and we don't have to worry about injuries or anything like that. And we qualify as it's owned by a municipality.
Right.
It might be worth looking at it.
It would. It would.
Where did they come out of?
Baker.
Baker.
Okay, we just got done with a workshop, Civil Engineering, presented us, status and, plans and specs on our sewer upgrade project. It doesn't sound like we're at a point where we can give him a vote to go ahead with final plans. We identified half of the things that we do a little more research on. I will touch base with Joe next Monday. And hopefully both ends will have answers to the questions that we have. So do we want to have another workshop? Do we want to have, once we have these answers, to have them come to our next council meeting and do a final presentation on those issues
Oh, yeah, we could apply for
at
it.
the council meeting?
Yeah, just bring, then I'll have the numbers and
Yeah.
all that.
Okay.
So the upcoming council or the month?
I'd say the next one.
2 weeks.
I don't imagine it'd take us more than 15 minutes to conduct that business. We all understand what the options are, just these numbers. So. So I will communicate to him. Request his presence at our next council meeting. What is the date of the?
It would be February 9th.
Thank you.
What time's it gonna be?
At the council meeting.
Yeah,
At 4.
at 4. Yeah. Is that difficult for you to make? Mark?
Yeah, I was in court today, that's why I wasn't with the other stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's real hard.
So it sounds to me like we might want to entertain at least some discussion on moving the meeting. You know, a minimal amount we got to accommodate Mark.
Well, 4 o'clock I can do
At 4?
it. Well, yeah, like where we've been doing it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, sure, 6 o'clock. is better, but 4 I can do, but 10 in the morning,
No.
I can't do usually, and 11 or 2 o'clock.
2 or
is tough.
2:30. Okay, so we'll leave the council meetings where they're at. And Mark, are you working
Yeah, usually 6 days.
That's now. Okay. All right. Well, maybe we can download a recording or something so that we can provide that. in our papers. He can put his earphones on at night while he sleeps and listen to it, so.
No, I already have trouble sleeping.
I understand that one, yeah. City electronic contract.
If you guys had a chance to look at it, read it,
Uh,
might be something you wanna look at. And you can approve it.
I gave it to him a month ago. Mark's the only one that hasn't.
Oh.
seen it.
What's the purpose? And why do you have?
Because we have some laptops and such now in the city phone, so that when the laptops are checked out, they know what the standards are and they can sign out for them. Because of COVID, we wound up having to do some of that. If they had work to do.
Yeah, the issue, Martin, is because if we do work on our personal computers, but it's city business, that makes that computer available for examination by the state or any other agency if there's an issue as far as records. So we got an extra laptop that, let's say you wanted to write some correspondence with Mr. Stump or Mr. Campbell or something, you could do it on that laptop instead of your personal computer, just to keep the separation. And so it's just a checkout policy, and then describing what the responsibilities of each party are. Doesn't mean you have to, it just means it's available. It's not for public use, it's for city. If Jeff wants to do his report, instead of doing it here, wants to do it at home, instead of using his personal computer, it creates that separation for investigation between his personal computer and city business. So before we didn't have that option because we didn't have anything to be removed from the building. So we want to put this aside and give Mark time to.
Well, who drafted this?
I did.
They're city employees. And so their use of it, it's implied that they would use it for the appropriate purpose.
True.
And they won't be, going to porn sites and doing all that stuff. They won't be doing social media, I assume.
Not supposed to.
And I think Renee checked with other cities that have the checkouts and they all have this standard electronic contract.
Yeah, there's been so many, they've got so many different towns have purchased iPads or Chromebooks or something like that for their council members to use. And because council members come and go and the mayor comes and goes and city employees can come and go, it's just an accountability. Where is this laptop? Who has it? And so that's the purpose behind this. And if there's any damage, then that person who has it has signed and is responsible for the damages.
And we have one of these things?
We have 3 laptops
3. What?
and a cell phone.
Okay, I'll look it over.
Okay, let's go ahead and table this for the next council meeting on the 9th. All right. Maintenance department's requested purchase of an electric grease gun, so we can do maintenance on our equipment. One that they did the research on and feels best suits their needs and is not the most expensive was Milwaukee. Yeah, it's battery operated. Cost total is $249. They have started doing their midwinter maintenance and would like to get this as soon as possible if we deem it so. So So do you all have a copy so you can see what it looks like?
I've already seen
You
it.
have to show that, Mark.
It was in the,
You got
it was in the box. It was in your mailboxes 2 weeks ago.
I've got a mailbox.
I'm gonna have to start scanning emails to you.
So are these reasonable prices, guys?
Pardon?
Are these reasonable prices on these?
Yes, they are, actually.
Why aren't they using pneumatic, we have a compressor, I assume, at their shop?
Then they're hauling around the hose all over the garage. And this is just much more easier to get in underneath the equipment and so forth. It's battery operated, so seems to be the new way to go. I do have to say as a contractor that for small jobs, going up ladders, other houses, that kind of stuff, this stuff is a real lifesaver, so. And Charlie, you see this.
Yeah.
So we'll entertain a motion or not, concerning authority to go ahead and purchase this item.
The only drawback that I have on this particular item, yes, it's cheap, yes, it's got one battery and it comes with the thing, but it doesn't have a charger.
Tim has a charger.
Tim has a charge.
Once again, Tim has a charger, the city doesn't have a charger for it.
He said he was going to donate it to the city, so it will become the city's charger.
And then, like I said, so it's only, it does only have one battery.
Yeah, and Tim said there's about 2 hours worth of work in that one battery on this machine, this particular machine. So the cost difference between buying a whole package and buying one more extra battery is quite substantial.
About $180.
Uh,
Not much, yeah. Because this is two something, and I think the other ones are what?
About $400. The battery itself is $77.95. So it'd be $100 cheaper than
Well, like I said, it's just,
this one.
if you do it, to me, it's like, I can vote and do it all and be done with it, because I don't want to have to sit here a month and go, oh, we gotta have a battery because this one's no good. That situation.
If it was a machine like a skill saw, and they used it all the time, I would agree with you, and normally we agree on that principle. As often as this thing would be used, I mean, eventually there may find there's a need for another battery, but at this point, I personally don't see it. That's just my opinion.
What other battery operated stuff do we have?
Milwaukee. I think we got a drill.
I guess all I'm saying is it makes sense if perhaps we bought stuff from the same manufacturer, so the batteries might be interchangeable.
Yeah,
And we have some other batteries, perhaps that would already work, or, you know, if we get other pieces or replacements going on, that we don't have to worry about extra batteries, so you can switch.
right.
I mean, that's where all my stuff is.
Yeah, mine too.
You have any DeWalt?
You have any DeWalt? Mine's DeWalt. We don't know. Mostly Milwaukee.
D&B sells just the bare, you got the battery. I've got 2 of those. Works every time, really good.
I'm sure Milwaukee has something like that. I mean, they're a good name.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never heard of one. But it's not there. Yeah.
Only when they have their special sales. Because then it's like, if you buy the battery pack, which is 2 batteries, charger, you buy that at cost, they'll give you 2 battery operated pieces of machine.
Or are you talking about like if one goes bad?
That's what I thought. I have one that went bad and they didn't go stand behind it.
So do we have the other Milwaukee items that are out of too?
don't know if it's the same size battery. I mean, as far as how they mount and so forth, that's usually the same size, but your amperage and voltage varies.
As
Some-
far as I know, Milwaukee doesn't do like the whole.
So they can totally interchangeable.
They do what, sir?
The wall has, you can get in 12 volt, 20 volt, 60 volt, 40 volt, 120 volt. And the thing is all it is more power, but all of those batteries are interchangeable. You can take a 60 volt, put it on a 20 volt drill. It'll last longer. It doesn't give it more power. It just makes the battery last longer for the way that they do it. When you look at the physical battery itself, the pump and the battery, there's different ones that line up.
Yeah, Ryobi's got the same type of thing on the vehicle as the radio. I mean, it's even worth looking at to save money in a long-term sense.
Well, like I said, if Tim's gonna do everything he says, and we're gonna end up with a charger, and we have other DeWalt stuff, or I mean, the Milwaukee things, then we can pursue this.
Why not have him check in?
You can do that. I believe the discussions with him that this is a 5 amp, which is bigger than their standard like for a drill or something. You wouldn't want to use a 5 amp probably in the drill we have because it's burning up.
Yeah, because that's an 18 volt.
System, yeah. So,
And going forward, we could ensure that we just get Milwaukee stuff.
right. So do we have to do more research on this or is there a motion?
I'll move that we go ahead and buy that thing. And make sure we either have a battery that will work in it or that we buy another battery. And as part of that motion that we authorize Tim to, he's the one using it, at his discretion, you buy the one that best suits our needs.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Um,
Aye. All opposed? Unanimously. Thank you, Mark. Just to be clear, Mark, were you making a motion to buy an extra battery or just the one that's here? Yeah.
No, let's buy an extra battery. If we don't have one that will already work.
Oh. Okay. Oh, that's yours. Okay, policy statement, contract for special events in the city property known as the grounds. There's an application for a wedding. They want to use the shower building, picnic shelter and pavilion. There will be alcohol served. Yeah, it's Friday, April 30th. Noon. When it starts, it ends Monday, May 3rd at noon. Number of attendees expected, minimum of 15, maximum of 22. Number of vehicles, 5 to 8, cars, trucks, camp trailers. Total fees for the event are $950. 200 of that is a cleaning deposit, reimbursable cleaning deposit.
What day is the wedding, actual
Time.
Saturday?
Are they gonna need, says they're bringing, maybe bringing some camp trailers, they're gonna need to hook up?
Awesome. They weren't 100% sure because they don't exactly know who's RSVP'd yet.
Any name on who that is?
But, yeah, so. Without any.
Okay, we have nothing schedule wise that would conflict with that. They are aware of the noise ordinance and limits and all
They,
that.
they have the packet.
Okay,
I know we've talked about having some kind of available security. In case the drunks get out.
oh, security.
They call it break.
Oh, the bar, you know, they're used to drunks.
Right. Yeah, we need to have a contact person for that, and then that person.
You have the city phone.
Yes,
You
I
have the
do.
city phone, right? yourself.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Your contact.
I need to be the contact person for those types of issues, and then I can determine whether we call it a reinforcement or just a nice talking to suffice, so.
Senior security.
Do they have to have somebody with an alcohol server's license?
You know, if they're having a caterer and so forth, I would say so, bring your own. What is our policy on a bring your own?
Then you don't have to, just kind of, maybe not a nice chips.
I think in the packet, it specifies that they have to have, if they have serving, have to have an alcohol license.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Really?
Cause I didn't think so. Cause otherwise, if that's the case, then you gotta have, you're telling me that OLCC's gotta be involved.
Is there a difference between giving it away and selling it?
Don't know.
I don't think under LCC you're allowed to give it away.
Yeah.
That's been my understanding, but it doesn't make sense that you can't have a wedding, everyone I've ever been to, I've been involved with, had a flask in my pocket.
Mhm.
There's more to this application. They could do that before the application.
Yeah, she just mailed that back to me.
Yeah, because others weddings that have been up there, it's more like bring your own. I mean, there's alcohol there, you're bringing your own, so it's not for sale and, you know. And then, I mean, if they have, I don't know, once again, you got somebody serving, or you just pouring your own.
So, yeah, and we don't know that.
Cause it's one thing to grab a beer and it's another thing to make a Jack and Coke. But if you're making your own, but I don't see where you need a licensed server.
We do is, if you got one person mixing drinks and they're not part of the wedding party,
That's catering
then, you know, it would be classified, yes, as an outside
service.
supply. So, I mean, as far as the date and having a wedding, you know, we need to approve that. You just put it out, get more information from them, or approve it contingent on, the LCC rules.
It should be something that you guys can look back on. There's been weddings up there before.
I mean, there's a full package that like all the rules to go through there. And it doesn't say anything about it, maybe that they have to have LLCC or a server. or anything.
I saw,
They have, the question, do you have alcohol, and that was about
may
it.
not have been on this,
Yeah. It was just another. Actually,
one.
okay.
Or you can only have one sleeping room.
Yeah.
One sleeping room.
Uh,
The settlement said.
That's all of it. Partner, is that just for the free market?
Really?
It's for everything.
Ready? For a dramatic reading?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All other events permitted at the fairgrounds is other than flea markets shall be day use only, excepting those events approved by the city council at a regularly scheduled meeting for which the approval specifically appeared on the agenda and is sponsored by a legal entity or is a large family gathering, including but not limited to weddings and family reunions. In the latter event, one support recreational vehicle may be placed at the grounds for use as overnight sleeping quarters. No more than 10 such special events shall occur in a single calendar year. Okay, that's right out of seven. And part of the reason it was drafted that way is because I drafted it back in the day, was because we thought we owed it to some of our local RV people to continue to support them. So that's what it says.
So, in light of that, like when we have the Elkhorn runners, and there's been multiple of those, most of them are pass, but there are trailers, so we've been in violation of that settlement by allowing that.
Yeah, for overnight quarters.
Yeah, they usually spend, the event is 2 nights, but the organizers usually come one night before that, so.
Right, most of them sleep on the ground. in tents.
Yeah, most of them are tents, but not all,
Anything else?
So
yeah.
I just want to point that out, you do what you want, but that's what the agreement says.
Well, if they need hookups, they're gonna have to go somewhere else anyway. If that's what their plan was.
Not to use our hookups down
You don't have to water.
there. We have water,
Yeah.
electricity. Yeah. No, but most of them have open tanks, so.
There's nothing about. No, service hookups.
Right, right. And,
I don't see anything that says.
not in here. So it's not in here, it doesn't apply. Let's just check those. So. The, request for reservation to use our facilities up at the building. We're running from April 30th through May 3rd, May 3rd.
Well, we need to stipulate if they're gonna have
Well,
music campers, they're gonna have to have them go to the RV park.
But for what they're requesting though, for here, they can do this on a daily deal. And if they want to leave stuff up there, they can have one person stay in camp. So that's the stipulation that I see. Because, for daytime use.
Right.
Because like, what is it, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Most days.
And, no, and
So they got it in. Anyway,
So I entertain a motion that we accept this reservation on the condition that one support vehicle is allowed to stay overnight.
That's for sleeping.
yeah, one trailer,
Yeah,
one travel trailer.
and the rest will have to find other accommodations.
right.
About the alcohol,
Not in a contract,
you gonna check?
not in a contract.
Yeah, we don't
Just
address
they
it.
put liability on the city. They leave their drunk, you have a server, city's responsible.
What is our policy down here in this part?
No alcohol.
This one?
Or no.
Not city.
What is it?
Not posted.
I do believe that's what Kerry told me one time.
We're on new ground here.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is that nobody's ever followed any rule in this town to begin with. And if we're gonna start following rules, we need to follow them religiously or go through appropriate procedures to change them. So, we're dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century.
Absolutely.
So somebody ought to check, maybe they ought to check with OLCC.
It says alcohol use is allowed, however, the city must be notified in advance. That's all it says in here.
And that's been given to them?
And this is on the application.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this is part of the package that they send in the fall. So,
With all the new laws and rules that happen biannually, annually, it behooves as a city to research this and make sure that we're not behind and leave ourselves liable.
It is implicit in any of these agreements that they will follow the law. And if the law requires that, you have OLCC, which, I personally think is ridiculous, but if it requires it, then they have to do it. This is a list of particular things, but there is a requirement they comply with law.
And then we providing a little job for somebody around town, because you got a lot of servers that work downtown.
And maybe not so much for a wedding, but for other events, communication with the sheriff's department that, we're having an event or the city is hosting an event on our grounds. Just a heads up that there is alcohol available. They might appreciate that heads up.
This is a revenue source for life.
Yeah, so, I think, 30 minutes of due diligence on this, I think would benefit us so that we know. So at this point, being that I'm sure they're on a time schedule, coming here or going to the website, maybe I'm gonna research that.
This is
We haven't had a problem in the past as far as,
Just noise.
yeah, lane violations and things. What we say in here pretty much covers what we've had to deal with. So with this application, I think for time expediency for the Clark Criddle group, we either need to decide yea or nay so they can make plans.
Well, I think we should be able to, it's not the date we can question, we should be able to approve the date, but let them know that stipulate that there's only one hooked up travel trailer and per night. And that we have, there's a question about alcohol. And then we get back to them whether they have to do the server or, you know, how we're going we're gonna have alcohol. Just let them know that we're gonna have to research this and there may be a different requirement for them.
Okay, we could, let them know the date is.
Yeah, the
there's
date's
no
okay.
conflict with the date.
Yeah.
You need to understand, because maybe they'll change their mind if they can't all camp together.
Mhm.
Um,
We've had a lot of weddings up there, and they, you know, they just all drove up there.
Right. One overnight,
What we're gonna do is have you, Greg, know where the main power is, so you can switch it off in case they don't quit.
right, I do know where that is.
We've had problems.
I think we've had to.
I don't have a key to the building, but I do know where it
I think we've had to turn it off on somebody before.
is. Really?
Well, I went and looked once to turn it off, couldn't find it, but that was 11 night.
Yeah. Okay, one overnight camper,
And there's a question about an alcohol.
Smoke marijuana.
all right, so,
Then support work time.
So I think that's illegal too, in public, a public place like
we'll have a city recorder communicate this info, and then have them get back to us as to whether they want to continue to pursue this event.
So we're taking.
So we'll table this. Okay.
And we jumped down to the bottom. And that's the workshop. And that's the workshops up on the top.
No, I haven't missed that.
Okay.
Trying to get some of this wood, hopefully simple stuff done. Right. Like that one's not gonna be simple. All right, workshops, the Eagle Workshop. We probably need to set another one, is actually where we're at. So we had questions on the last one. Redwood tank, different size tanks. Different options, what might be less expensive as far as materials, location. So.
Well, actually, the only thing we were actually waiting for though on that was to do that. The second proposal with larger tanks, basically doing the first proposal by just moving the generator down.
Was,
That's the easiest way to word it.
right.
What about alternative methods of accomplishing the same thing? And we talked about a whole lot of that.
I don't think we.
Mark brought that up at the last meeting, too, that And The thing that the expense of putting one in the ground is pretty expensive because it's got to be a covered hole. And it has to be lined, because this is our treated water. By the time you get done with a hole in the ground, it'll substance that, and then where you want to put it. So if you move it down here, that means you got to move all of the pumps and everything down here to be able to get the chlorine and everything else in it.
Well, if he ruled it out, he ruled it out.
Well, he didn't think it was cost efficient.
What we had talked about is moving the generator to the plan one. And the thing is, we can get grants, I think he said pretty much they pay, what did he say, 90% of the grants to cover the expense of this.
There's actually the one grant that he said that.
Yeah.
That will pay for it almost 100%. However, to do that, they're going to look at, which would be the state, is going to look at what we're charging for water. And they're going to tell you whether or not you're going to raise your water rates to justify that. So we don't end up in this boat again. Because right now, we've been so delinquent and so far behind on raising water rates that we don't have the money to replace the system now that it's wore out.
And if we don't raise the rates, then we're in default under the bonds that secure the current water system. So, something's got to happen. All I'm saying is we ought to get the most bang for the buck, because if we don't get grants, we're not doing anything.
Right. And the one grant that he was talking about, that he did say that he thinks that because we're below the line, so he says that's going to help you out, and this grant will pay 100%. However, when they look at what we're charging for water, they may say, you need to be charging $90 a month for water. Or something like that, ballpark figures. Because we're way behind on all of that. But that's going to be something that, once again, if we're trying to comply, we're trying to do what needs to be done, we can gain that, but then they're saying that we gotta comply by doing it in this direction of raising rates.
They're gonna
Oh, yeah.
and we gotta pay what we gotta pay, simply because the water is gotta be below state, federal standards.
Do we know where we stand with the state since we raised our water?
No, that's something we can go find out.
According, well, I don't know where we stand for it, state road, but all says we're breaking even. With the $15 raise that we did, you are even, you're not making any money.
USDA is waiting for our audit.
So that we hold ourselves. So are we gonna meet together again with people on this, or are we gonna get the answer?
Let's set a workshop,
In the afternoon?
in the afternoon. Oh, yeah, 4 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can get them to be, you only have them involved.
I'll get a hold of Robert.
Yeah, because there's gonna be a, if they're saying that they're not available at 4 because they're out of Idaho, that's 5 o'clock, they're done.
Right.
Which they may do it because we're paying them to do it anyway.
Yeah, if they want the job,
Well, they're the engineers.
so. Let's pick a date, we'll set it for 4 o'clock. I'll that doesn't work, we'll cancel it.
What day?
Anytime next week.
Well, let me check with Martin.
Yeah. Next week.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah.
I want to get out of town, but nope. It's snowing. It's snowing. I'm good anyway. Well, we need to see if they got the answers for us too. We're gonna calculate a few things.
How's Wednesday, the third?
Okay.
At 4 o'clock. City firehouse, under the present circumstances of things the city is dealing with, not just financially, but with lawsuits, preparation and so forth, I was suggesting that we table further discussion on the firehouse until we can address it adequately.
Yeah.
So postpone indefinitely.
Yeah.
Until we find out if we're gonna go over the water in that grant.
Let's make that official. Somebody want to make a motion to table this and
Not table.
Postpone.
postpone.
Suspend. What's the proper word?
I know, Mark.
Suspend.
I
Suspend?
happen to know somebody.
Okay, I make a motion that we suspend looking at the city firehouse project indefinitely until we resolve the water tower issue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We can do it.
Me,
Okay.
You opposed?
you know, there are different types of grants, so what may work for one thing and not for another. I can't see where it hurts to pursue it, look at it.
Yeah, you were in the bathroom when I brought this up. At the current time, for the foreseeable next few weeks, we've got 2 lawsuits that are scheduled for the first week of March. There's a lot of work to do between now and then. So my suggestion was that we table this issue until we can address it adequately. So indefinite may not be the right word. Reconsider.
No, I'm fine with what you've done. This is democracy in action.
Yeah, we did the vote. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a done deal, but
Yeah, I voted against it.
yeah, I'm just explaining what we. So. All right. This postponed vote 41. The alternate ATV route, Don, I'm gonna put you off just for a couple more minutes and get this out of the way. Althea.
Bone break.
Owen Brace. She's the pastor at the Episcopal Church up here on the corner. And since COVID has hit, they haven't even opened the doors. And she's requesting a rating decrease on water. The church, Danner Baker is the one that supports all the bills up here and keeps the doors open. It's only used twice a month for services. There are less than 10 at the services, but they haven't even been able to do that since March due to COVID. Ms. Bonebrink is asking for the church rate to decrease, any amount would help at this point. So I'll open that for discussion. Being a church, a service to this community, those who wish to partake of it. I consider that, a town service for those that need consolation or worship or whatever the reasons they go there.
Is that the little church of us?
Yeah, the little white church.
The thing is, don't we have several other organizations here that have a church, where they have the bingo? Do they pay, who pays for that electric? I mean, are we opening, yeah, are we opening a domino effect because there's other organizations that, I mean, I understand their problem, but then what about the next person and the next person? So
Well, have there been bingo since March?
I don't know. I'm just saying that group, I don't, no. I'm just saying, I mean, there, well, the other groups have been impacted.
Do
So,
we know what the water rate is?
for them,
Yeah, the church.
Do they pass home water?
I think that's.
I believe it's a business rate that we, let me look at it.
Well, we've had this discussion on the motels and businesses that are affected.
yeah,
They're not, they weren't giving the service during COVID either. But still service provided to the door.
I mean, it would be nice to help her out, but I'm just worried that things gonna,
Oh, yeah. it's all the same.
you have to see them all the same. So,
There's a big difference between a for-profit business
yeah,
and a church.
what is the Mason, what is that, is that for profit? Is that-
No.
No, so I mean, there's another one. I'm just saying, there's other organizations, so if we're gonna go for one, then we need to look at everybody that comes under that umbrella.
It's the rules the same for all, like Martin said. You're gonna set the rules and they need to stand for everyone.
They, only have a water rate, and it's the regular 44.50 that everyone pays.
They don't have a sewer rate.
They don't have a sewer, they have something.
But the thing is, at the same token, I know where Martin's coming from, because you take the hotels and everything else, they're all into it to make money. Churches, a church is a, I guess you would call it a public service. And what's the Mason?
Well, who's doing bingo up here at the school?
No,
And even when they did, the city paid it, didn't they?
not since COVID started.
That's city, that's city water, city sewer.
The volunteer group does the bingo. If you're talking about the school, there was a bingo for the church too, and they haven't been doing it either. Nobody's been doing it.
I believe it was mine. Seriously? Bingo.
It's been canceled all year.
Sorry.
So what's the question?
Didn't you say that bingo was, somebody was doing bingo?
When we do bingo, it's up at the schoolhouse. But the schoolhouse has been closed for COVID for
City
since
property.
March. So nobody's been using it.
Okay.
So, and that's what we hold bingo. We haven't, when I posted that, I said we gotta wait till COVID opens. We open back up. So we still hang on.
Okay, so that's where you hold it. You don't have you're not paying anything.
No, no.
Okay, so,
The city pays that.
yeah,
We do.
yeah. So the church owns a building and they're paying for its service.
Mhm.
They're a nonprofit. What else do we have in town that owns a building, paying service, it's nonprofit?
Mason, that's not a
Lodge.
lot.
Okay. Sonics,
Now, they're not gonna come and ask you for a cheaper rate, I can almost guarantee that.
I got a question.
oh, she's hiding behind.
1 year, their water is paid for. We have a little committee meeting, we'll pay for it. Done,
For the church?
for 1 year.
Wow,
That's great.
thank you, guys.
We're not all there.
You can call Lisa and give her
So
the
from March to
fantastic
March?
news. And what,
So from March to March?
We'll just do it for 1 year. Done.
wow,
We have a nice back row here.
can we get, can you volunteer the names and they, so they have somebody to thank?
I'll tell you after we collect.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonderful.
That's what small towns are about.
That is what small towns are about. I was just gonna say that. Yep. Okay, we have an issue of an address.
Again.
Yes, again. Up on Badger and Daisy Lane, Derek and Julie Prevost originally had an address on Badger Lane. That's where their house is.
Their original was Gaisley.
Their house is on Daisy.
Their house is on Gaisley. They don't have.
Daisy's in the Loop, Badger's the one up there. They are the second lot in from Badger. Definitely landlocked on Gaisley Lane. They had a previous verbal arrangement with the neighbor that owned a vacant lot because it was more level with their upper end of their lot. They were given permission to drive across it to their property. That property is off of Badger. They came into the city's administration a couple times ago, but the previous employees were here. And requested an address change from Gaisley to Badger. And it was granted without council presentation or council approval. Nor was it given to planning. Since the vacant lot has been purchased by another party, and there is no paperwork on an easement, they have been denied access through that lot. And we dealt with this last summer, where we changed their address from the EMS purposes back to their original address off of Gaisley. They are fighting that designation.
We didn't fight it last summer.
Well, there are reasons that, without getting into the public arena, there are reasons that they need, it makes their life easier if they have the Badger address for some procedures that they're trying to do with their property.
What lot are they on the map?
18,
18.
the second one, or the middle one.
So the issue is, they requested an address change for the vacant lot that they have permission to drive across. It's been bought. They actually were presented with a compromise and turned it down. So now they've been denied access. They have zero access from Badger. They have been notified last summer that their address was reverting back to the original address. They do have access off of Gaisley, just goes uphill, like so many other residences do in this town. Any issues that they have as far as access that they may claim that they have through that other piece of property is not a city issue. That is a property civil matter. For EMS, they need to know how to get to that house. They get to that house off of Gaisley. So what they're asking for is a reconsideration. Change it back to Badger Street. Martin, I'd be interested to know what you think of that whole mess.
It's a mess of their own creation to begin with. And then Dewey made it worse. I don't care what their address is really. They bought that property. I assume they were adults and could see what it was. And therefore they should know better. And they also, I assume, got title insurance. And title insurance would have known it if there was no legal access to it. By legal access, I mean a platted street. So they had access and they still have it across these. They've been offered a license. Now, a license is different than an easement. A license can be revoked. That's the big thing about a license. So no lender is going to lend on that. And this is all driven by lenders. So I say give them whatever address they want. And,
You don't allow it to be changed again.
what?
And don't allow it to be changed again back and forth.
Yeah, but it's, it's their problem. If they feel better, if they can get a loan, you mentioned something about a lender. What?
Greg was not wanting to get to that point, but
Oh,
yeah, they were wanting to refinance.
okay, and there you go. Because if it's on the address, the lender, those people are clones, they check boxes and they don't know anything generally. And if we relied on them for the development of this country, we'd still be huddled on the eastern seaboard. But they will look at this, they have access, it's clear to see, give them what they need. And they want to go back to Gaisley now, right?
They want to go back to Badger,
Where they don't have.
where they don't have access.
They don't have legal access.
If they want that, it doesn't affect the city, let them have it. We shouldn't be wasting our time on stuff like this.
Well, they probably might have with them.
This is the second time.
To the Badger address, and she calls 911 and gives her Badger address, and gate's locked, and they can't get into it. Because it's not her property she's going across.
Well, and then they put a ditch at the end of it, so there's no access across it.
Yeah, they built kind of a berm.
So, I mean, even EMS right in, doesn't get across.
Do they have access off Gaisley?
Yes, but it's kind of an up a hill, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
You gotta go up the hill and get the driveway.
They bought it, and that's what it was. It's not our problem.
The thing is, though, and I think we just should stay on Gaisley. Otherwise, we're set to see if we say, yeah, you can have Badger's address, that's pretty much saying you got permission to go on private property. And then the person that has the private property, which we already have, the documents from their attorney right here stating that they don't have access to that property, do that. And we'll have another lawsuit for the city.
But I wouldn't believe everything the attorney tells you.
Take it with a grain of salt.
But you can't provide them with a Badger address because you're saying that, yes, we give you permission to go across private property to get to your house.
Well, that's not what doing that does, but leave the Gaisley address. It's the proper address, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
yes,
and they can work out whether there's.
No.
So is there a motion?
I make a motion that Provo's continue using their Gaisley legal address.
So in other words, your motion is that we, in our second consideration of their petition, we deny
Better access.
No.
we deny their request to change their address back to that. Is that your motion?
So,
It is.
so you need
Is there a
to,
second?
so you need to amend your motion.
Amended to that.
I amend my motion to what Greg said.
You want me to repeat it, right?
Yeah.
Greg
You're gonna have
said,
to replay the tape.
It's just, we denied their request to
Yeah.
change the address. And it should remain at whatever it is.
So Martin, are you making that?
I think Greg did, and I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
What did you ask? Did we deny it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
All right. Thank you for helping us all through that. Okay, we need a resolution. We need to pick who's going to be.
First thing we're gonna do is remove.
Okay,
Yes, we do. That's not on my list here.
Well, I make a motion that we remove McAllen from check signer now that he's not on council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passed.
Now you can go forward.
Make us removed. That's a resolution, so whatever number you're asking.
You can all be in the same one.
Okay. Now, Linda, I, and Rob are signers. Linda and I are signers on the LGIP. We're signers on the checking account. Rob has access and is a signer to our financial institutions. We had Mick on here because sometimes Linda is out of town, take care of responsibilities. And at the time we needed it, I was out of town. Took care of responsibilities, so it worked well to have a third backup. Just in case we were both out of town. So the discussion is, do we still need that third person and who's it gonna be?
I nominate Charlie. It takes two, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I second.
All in favor of Charlie being our third signer?
Aye.
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 All opposed, Charlie can't vote. Okay, passed unanimously.
Just like that.
Whoever has to be here at all times, that's the thing.
Right, right. Okay. Any other business besides the ATV presentation? All right. All right, just to reiterate, John and I had a good discussion over the weekend. He is aware that,
John, who?
that,
Because we all know John.
no. And he is aware the city is dealing with a lot of serious issues for the next few weeks. That doesn't need to stop him from pursuing his interest here. And he's put together, I haven't had a chance to read this.
That's something. That's something else.
Oh, that's-
It goes along with it. It goes with it, but I can't do that.
Okay.
Second, fashion word.
Okay. So in light of that, if you can just kind of keep it light, as far as the outline, and what you want to present to us, and then down the road, you know, we can take a deeper look at it.
Yeah, what you're reading is just kind of a rough idea.
Okay.
Am I up? Yeah, drop more big pictures.
Okay. So, first of all, Woodley lawsuit. Okay?
This is the map. Okay, this is the map of the city, and this is just a section of it, okay? Once again, am I holding this upside down? No. Wait,
Don't go by there. I think that one, but
there, okay. So here we are, and once again, it shows Cracker and Auburn. It shows 3 buildings. J.P. Hollins, about where your house is, and Boschy, not Boschy State, just Boschy at the time, and J.B. Pears, who's here on the corner of Woodley's and in Cracker Street, okay? That's just a map. Here's the end of the Woodley line, right here. Okay? I'll show you guys up here. I shouldn't have blown this up. I guess it's hard to see. Okay. Here's Cracker Street. And I was mistaken. It wasn't just a street. It was the second main thoroughfare in town, I think. That's the street right there. There's the buildings. And on that map that I just showed you over here, here's Auburn. If you look close, Linda, I'll do you first.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Warehouse, warehouse, warehouse. Little buildings back here. You see them? Huh? 1910.
Okay.
There's 3 buildings. The only access on that was Auburn Street. Cracker Street came up through here. We got pictures of this. They zigzag through the building and see how it's offset a little bit. Okay.
Okay, that's what you
Well, I want you guys to see this so you can tell your attorney to maybe do his job. No offense, Mark. Okay, Cracker Street. Warehouse, warehouse, warehouse. Building, 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 building. Auburn. Center. Dumping into Auburn. This was the old livery stable. That's Sumter Street. And it had a P back then. And here is Cracker. Okay. All right, you want to see it?
No, very good.
Okay, so there's the end of the lawsuit as far as I can see it. He said they were never used. The rule, the law that he's referring to is a county law. It was abolished, I believe, in 1903. That's a picture of 1910.
The law was abolished in 1903, but did not apply to anything up to that date. It was from 1903 on.
No.
No,
I got the paperwork. So up until then, it held. Once they abolished that, it was from then on.
yeah, well, Woodley should have filed it when his parents were in kindergarten, because that's when that was, okay? So there's that. That is a street. Cracker Street is a city street. It's an unconstructed city street.
And I've got 3 maps that show it never has been. For every map, you can show the council that it was. I have a map that shows it never has been.
How do you describe the buildings in the photo?
That
Are
has,
people using the street and the trails in the street?
that has been private deeded property for 123
And your
years.
deed is subject to rights, easements, blah, blah, blah.
Take it to the title company.
The gentleman who
Has
made the street,
nothing to do
made
with
the
that.
town railroad at that time, he made the street so that they also served the railroad.
okay, so
So are we doing what's in the best interest of the city here? That's the big question.
um, yeah, hang on.
No, what are you talking about? I'm just- No,
Trying to
I'm
steal
sorry.
street off my property. There's a
Say that. I want to hear what you're saying.
there's a Woodley lawsuit where he has deeded himself the corner and part of Center Street, over here by the hotel, where
where he lives.
Center
He
Street.
did it to himself, and he's citing old laws that do have to do with what was developed, railroad properties, laws that were put in place when 2 years and 4 years were struck down. And it's quite long.
If the timeline is 1889, yeah, 1889, the city was platted. He's saying you didn't use the road between that time for 4 years, but in 1895, it was replatted. And they were streets. And they were used by Ellis. Ellis owned the railroad. He platted these streets for his own use for the railroad. When he got done with them, he deeded it to these properties. But it was subject to the streets.
So are you trying to
Okay.
get the streets, is the lawsuit trying to get the streets reenacted? Done away with?
No, Myron's trying to,
What the city stance is Center Street up to Auburn is still a street. Always was, still is. He needed it to himself back in the 80s. So, that lawsuit is coming up March 2nd, a court date. Got a lot of work to do between now and then. That picture helps us determine that specific corner, what the issue is there. The rest of it is peripheral, but that does help with that.
And Laramie, just so you know, the city has spent $100,000 plus.
I more than that.
That
I
one
think
map
more
is
than that.
actually at
Yeah, that's back up, if you wanna go look at it, it's on the wall.
And if you
The other
look,
one's Banbury.
not before,
Yeah.
let's start down point of order.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
So the part the city is interested in right now, and what we're dealing with is Auburn and Center Street. So.
and if you read the lawsuit like I did to your attorney the other day, page 3, section 6, it clearly states, for the purpose of this lawsuit, we're talking Center, Cracker, and Auburn. And then it's just look at Center, look at Center, look at Center, and I just stole Auburn and Cracker. It's right there, page 3, section 6. Okay?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do here, people, is get over this freaking lawsuit because it's cost us a grader, a backhoe, and a dump truck. Okay? That's how I look
So
at
you're
stuff.
stepping into the lawsuit,
Yes, yeah.
because you are found there's
Yeah.
opinion and information.
Yep.
That's what's going on right now?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to keep it open.
Yeah. I'm not trying to steal anyone's property. It belongs to the city. Okay?
And he wants Martin Dale's property. So the ATV route over right.
Yeah. So
He's pushing.
Look, folks,
can I have point of order. Can I have the floor till I get done? And then you can crucify me. I don't care.
Let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest with each other. Everybody in this town will research and present, I'm assuming, for the most part, out of the goodness of their heart, time, finances, energy, something to help the city. Okay? I'm not judge or jury to say, you gotta know ulterior motive. And neither are you. Okay? You hold those thoughts to yourself. This is not the venue to vent those kind of things. Okay? This is pertaining to a city issue that we are dealing with presently.
And I'm trying to
John
help the
has
city.
something that can help us. If Laramie has something that can help us, she has in the past, so has Jennifer, and so have others. We will listen. Respect that. Okay?
I seriously don't know what that's all about. I was
No,
asking for
then-
clarification. So
Yeah,
if
no,
you
no,
have
that's
an
fine.
opinion, That's not what it is.
That's
I don't
fine.
understand. I see pictures. Is there a road that's going in there? I mean, I'm just.
I'm trying to get to that without interruption.
We're far enough along in this process We're not gonna start over and try to catch people up. If you're interested in it, there's information to be had. We're at the tail end where we have to prepare for this.
Isn't this what you call the ATV trail?
That's what I'm trying to establish.
So, yeah, well,
Is this a city issue or a private citizen issue? Why didn't the city take care of it a long time ago?
they tried.
How did they try?
Lawyers sent him letters saying he can't need it to himself.
What if they spent, as much money as they spent, why isn't it handled?
I'm not a lawyer.
Good question,
Yeah, it
guys.
is a good question.
Because if we spend $150,000 on this at $3.50 an hour, it's 428.5 hours. We have 10, being generous with that number.
It's a lot more complicated than what John and Rebecca have done, but I thank them for the effort that they have put in, because we have learned a few things. This is, I think for council's sake, that, John, I'll give you 3 more minutes.
All right.
And then we're done with this.
Okay. If we can, we have a 216-foot stopgap in an ATV trail, okay? We can go down here. Right now, you come up the ATV trail to Austin, you're done. It's closed. The gates are down. It's closed going to the at Mad Dog, okay? It's over. The state will let us come up here with the snow groomer and snowmobiles and ATVs. But this is geared a lot to snow groomer and snowmobiles. Because you can't get up there, and you're not supposed to slide on the highway. So if you come up here, you go around, they're willing to cut trees enough to get the groomer through. And the big picture here, and you're all gonna love this one. I wrote it out for you guys, but basically ad living, you could, watch it again. You could
You're a wild man with it.
move the flea market down here in the middle of town, use this as an alternate bypass road around events down here. The city would collect the rent. You don't have to buy porta potties because the businesses have porta potties. You only have to get rid of the garbage. And all your events could be held right in the middle of town. You're one lawsuit away from, or one big party away from another lawsuit up the fairgrounds, more likely. And you'd have an alternate route. But we have to work with the state. The railroad could then, because then that would give us on Auburn a north entrance into the park. It helps with life safety. If the railroad tracks are blocked on Austin, the train breaks down, the motorhome catches on fire, whatever, you have an alternate route in there for a fire truck or an ambulance. And if I'm the one that fell off the dredge, I don't want someone dragging me across the tracks to the ambulance. I'd rather have it come to me. So, it just, wait, I got 3 minutes. But I mean, it opens up a lot of possibilities for this town. Okay?
Demerit is the tax law.
Huh? It's not, it is their property, but there's a right of way, Jennifer.
Folks,
There's 3 bars that you're gonna
I
have to
got a question for him that
yeah,
is totally
Linda,
different here.
The barn, okay, Whitley's? Guess what? I don't know about yours, Marcia, is it on skids? Because Whitley's are both on skids. I wonder why. He knows he doesn't own that street. He only has to do is pull forward 30 feet. I mean, I'm just guessing here. I'm just guessing, Dale, you're right, but, Whitley ain't stupid. Well, I got nothing against Whitley. But,
You will have.
well,
folks, we're not gonna carry this issue any farther.
Please, can I just ask one more question, because I think I'm getting it, but I'm still confused. So is that an alternate route for ATVs, snowmobiles, and then?
Yes.
Then what happens to the highway?
yes, you can't run the snow groomer and the snowmobiles down the highway.
And not off the side of the
Not
road?
Not off the side.
You're not gonna change OSSA snow. They've
So-
got a step path.
So that,
They're not dictated by anything that OSSA.
folks, this is the end of that subject. Linda, you have.
I just wanted, I read John's, I read this stuff. And the only thing I see that, since you haven't been here forever,
Mhm.
is that you read the city can just arbitrarily move the flea market to downtown, because the flea market back in the 90s and stuff was all downtown, it was all on private property. So the city doesn't have, they can't just say.
Oh, no, I was thinking in the street, if you block the street, send people up to the fairgrounds to park, everybody that goes to an event knows you gotta pay for parking. More revenue for the city. I'm just trying to help the city out here. Jesus, I mean,
I just
you
don't
know.
know if you realize that we used to have all kinds of vendors down here, but they were all on private property as far, I just want money, I didn't know if you realized.
The first time I came here when I was 17, I think it was in the street. I think it was just because like the road ended here at Sumter, so, like Greg said. So, but I don't know, I wasn't here, I don't know. It's just an idea, so now everybody can hate on
No, I just wanted to.
me. James would have been so bad to be like this.
Even if the, it is a private property.
Well, most of the vendors were.
Okay, but let's assume all of Warren. The city still has the right to enact ordinance to charge them a vendor's fee. And so the city does make.
Every person that's down here on private property pays a vendor fee to the city.
Good.
I mean, they always have, the property owners collect the vendor fees and they give it to the city, so they always have.
But if you let them take care of things like porta potties and all that, because we haven't made money on one flea market in the last 20 years. We've had doctor books.
Spent a lot of money.
Greg said, Greg, you told her the meeting earlier, it costs $3,000 a flea market for the city. That's been costing us about, it was $9,000 a year, depending on the flea market. Okay, look, folks. It's a small town. We don't always get along with everybody. Some of us don't get along with anybody. But we're still a small town. We all choose to live here. Okay, so maybe some of us are stuck here, but the council is here to listen to the people, not just some people, not just approved people, but people of the town, everybody. If you have an idea, you have the freedom and the permission of council to present it. It has to be on the agenda. You're probably going to have a time limit on it. Don't ask us to do anything with it, any presentation. But you do have the right to expect us to listen, however crazy it is. Maybe there's something good in it. Maybe it's something we haven't thought of. Maybe it's something we would never consider. But you still have the right to be heard. If you do have the courage to come here and present something like that, the rest of the arena needs to respect that. I said last year and a half ago, we're not going to put up with personal attacks in here. This is not the place to do that. If you don't like it, don't say anything. Not in here. If you want to address council about it, and it is the time to do it, this is the place. We may arrange another time to address that, give you time. If we cannot have cordial discourse and sharing of different ideas, we want to have public input. Okay? You have the right to know what business is going on in the city. You don't always have the right to participate in city business. So don't abuse it. Don't abuse each other. I don't care if you don't like each other. Don't abuse each other here. We're not going to put up with it. Am I heard? I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's on this side of the table or that side of the table.
I don't care if you're my son or my worst enemy. I don't have any. of course. You know, no, I'm serious. Okay? You're coming here because you're concerned about the city. You want to help. I'm assuming that's why all of you are here. You want to help. You're not coming here to take notes to attack somebody. If you are, you're in the wrong place. So please, when you leave here, rethink things. Okay? There are personal issues. I understand that. Believe me, what I've been through, what we've been through with the previous employees these last 2 years, there ain't nothing I ain't dealt with. Maybe that's why I'm not going to tolerate it. Okay? I'm not taking sides. Anybody's side. I encourage you guys not to either. Have discussions. People have to compromise. People have to agree to disagree. And if it's a legal issue, don't hate the other person because you got to go talk to a lawyer. Just go talk to the damn lawyer. Okay? We all have to live together in this town. If you're not happy here, there's other options.
These are legal issues.
Huh?
These are legal issues.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know there are personal feelings, but they are strictly legal issues. Either certain streets are streets or they're not. John's position is that they're streets. I think Marsh's is that some of them are not. And then we got Woody, and Lord knows what he thinks. But the courts will determine what's what. I have my own personal ideas of the correct end, but I'm not the judge. So they are legal issues, and a court is going to have to determine it unless competing parties stipulate to agree. That's the only way to avoid the court.
And we choose to make things personal. We either interpret things in a personal way, and maybe they were meant that way, and maybe not. But we make a choice to make it personal. Don't bring it in here. So, John, I'm not going to allow any more input today. Okay. We do have one more issue.
You got a hand.
Oh,
On a lighter note,
yes, please.
the first vendors in Sumter started from Ben and Kelly Olson across from the museum, the Red House in the Black Market.
Black Market.
Because I mowed the lawn for $1 an hour, set up tables, crowd meadow, and that's where those vendors started.
It was a garage sale of friends.
Yes.
How old are you?
It's 12. Council, we have one more issue that we have to deal with from a workshop today. Mark, you weren't here from our executive session. It does concern the Woody lawsuit. We put together an option A and an option B. And we need to decide which option the city's going to go with. So is there a motion to go with option A or option B?
What are option A and B?
Option A is to find a way to either sell or vacate the street.
Sell it?
Yeah, that was something that was brought up. So the other option is go full steam to court. So do we have a motion or no motion?
I make a motion that we go with A and see what he wants.
Pursue that option, develop that option.
A is to sell it?
No,
No.
vacate,
Oh.
vacate is what the focus is.
Yeah, because on the selling issue,
No,
people Well, then I say that you can't vote until you talk to Martin. Pull him aside and go talk to the man. If he's gonna ask the questions, he needs to know. That's the way I feel about it.
Felon's not an option.
No, but the thing is, though, I can't explain it.
We'll table that subject. We will have, this may shoot us, the city in the neck.
How so?
Because of the timeframe. They're very to court. So,
Can Martin just say what he wants? And see if it matches?
let's have executive session tomorrow at 4.
I need one more.
Okay.
Tomorrow is, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 o'clock. A motion to adjourn? Oh, sorry.
Keep it short.
I knew.
I will.
Oh, yeah,
You like
yeah.
to talk.
We had the, overrun. Last issue.
Thanks to your comment, Mr. Bloomberg. My name is Mike Bogart, I'm the president of the Somerville Club here. So, on behalf of the John Day Snowmobile Club, they asked us during the last race to have another race in February. And I said, well, we'll talk about it. And we agreed to it. I know that the city is concerned about the insurance, so I've cut to the chase here. We are not adequately insured with DNB, unbeknownst to us. They covered the city, they covered the spectators, but David Simonson was not adequately covered. And we did not know this until the morning of the races because of a sundry of different things. So we rattled chains all the way to the top of OSSA. They came back and they offered an insurance company that's most adequate. This is better than the previous insurance we had. It's from Fraser Insurance and they specialize in snowmobile races. It's $1 million liability, $2 million aggregate with $5,000 medical. And it's about a $1,500 bill. But unlike B&B, it covers setup day, it covers race day, and it covers takedown. B&B did not cover setup day or takedown. They cover everything. They cover all races. B&B covered no races. And we thought the older races were covered. The kids weren't. That whole debacle Saturday, and somebody may have heard what I wanted to go there. But Fraser covers the racers right down to the top. They got kitty cat races, they've got junior races, they got grown-up races, and the whole thing. So they're hoping to run these sled races on Poker Run weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend because we may be the only game in the state doing races this year. Everybody else is shut down. And I did not realize how big sled racing was. So that's if you got any questions to ask me, how things happen, where things are going. What I'm requiring from the John Day Snowmobile Club is not only proof of insurance, but a summary page that tells us what our coverage is. And they're already doing the legwork on that. Today, when I called them, I said, you got to get that to me immediately so I can give it to Renee. And so the city will know. So what I'm asking the city is contingent on $1 million policy, $2 million aggregate, which we never had before, with Fraser Insurance, contingent on that insurance proof and summary page to move forward with the races. Because they need to prep the racetrack and they need to get other things in order. I've been trying to keep in touch with everybody associated here in town to help them out. Terry, I want to do it. That's the end. Anybody have any questions?
What's the date? The 13th, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Same day as the poker run.
Yes.
13th of
It is
February.
a poker run. That was another issue. Somebody saw it as
February
6.
Okay, thank you.
It is not. I don't know where that came from, but it is poker run week.
You need our blessing to do this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you give us a hold harmless in addition to the insurance.
I'm sorry?
Do you give us a hold harmless and indemnity agreement in addition to the insurance?
Yeah, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, the insured people will be the city and David Simons.
I know, is whatever club's putting this on, they agreed to hold the city harmless from any action or activity
We can ask.
that comes
Yes,
out.
I assume that that's what the insurance covers.
Well, what if there's something that isn't under the coverage or it exceeds the limits?
Exceed the limits? Yeah,
Then we're, everybody's in trouble with that.
no, I agree with you. That is a contention, but it's always been an issue with us.
Well, it just seems to me that the city should require some kind of indemnity. All we're doing is saying we can have it up on our property and so along the Simons's, right? So we should have some indemnity. I mean, that's our duty to protect the city. All you gotta do is sign an agreement, we'll hold you harmless. That's oversimplifying it. And I assume if you go beyond $1 million, $2 million aggregate, we ain't gonna get any more out of you anyway. But I would like to have that on behalf of the city.
And hold harmless to the city.
Hold harmless indemnity of the city. We're providing you.
So how does that work? So if you got the club coming over, how do they hold you harmless? That's on the.
Okay, that's a good question. The club is an entity. I assume a corporation?
No, it's a nonprofit.
Okay, it's gotta be a corporation, an LLC or something. It's not a partnership, I assume.
No, each of these clubs in the state is a subsidiary, and I shouldn't even say that. They're nonprofit organizations that are, I don't want to even say managed. These clubs are independent of OSSA, but they're there for the pleasure of the OSSA.
Okay, and they're probably a 501c7 or something like
Yes,
that.
it is a 7. Yes.
Okay, and so that means it's gotta be a corporation or something. It can't be an individual. And so that entity, you tell us the entity, and we get an agreement, that says you're gonna hold us harmless. That's it.
I'll have to go to OSSA for that, based on, I don't know how that works. I know about limited with insurance is. I'm sure John Young would be on the same premise. We were in research the insurance and don't have anything beyond the coverage. I mean, for the last 30 years, these snowmobile clubs have been performing these races. At the beginning, they had no insurance. As insurance progresses, they get in the insurance, they're not covered. I don't know, I haven't heard anything from anybody about hold harmless. So I can't answer that question. I don't know what kind of an answer I'm gonna get. But nobody is completely free of legal activity. I don't, these.
I'm familiar with wild ag plaintiffs' laws. Believe me, I am. I'm one of them. So I have fiduciary obligation. I hate using that word because John Young throws it around all the time. But we have a fiduciary obligation to the city to shield it from unwarranted action. And all I'm asking, and I applaud you for getting the insurance and doing all those things.
Which is impossible to find anymore, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's only one place in the country.
Okay, but it has been found.
Yes.
So also what in my view, and I'm sure they may want to vote on it or outvote me, whatever, is that there be some simple agreement that says the city is providing that land, you're doing everything else, and you will hold us harmless from any claims arising out of that event.
So if I understand you right, that would apply to John Day, flea markets, any other events we have in the city. Is that correct?
That would apply to any events which the city actually allows its property to be used.
Okay, so we talked about a wedding earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Are these people required to provide the same kind of deal?
They should provide the indemnity agreement, sure.
And any other event we have in the city that's, yeah.
They should, for the reason that somebody gets drunk and you're wedding, kill somebody, you don't have any insurance. Well, who does the lawyer look at? The city.
Sure, sure.
And, you always go for the.
Deepest possible.
And they want everybody.
This does say agrees to indemnify on this contract.
With the,
On the one we use for special events.
yeah, I know, it says that.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she can show you that.
Yeah,
You don't have to go spend fortune on a lawyer to draft.
yeah.
So could John Jay fill out one of those for the event, sign it, and then they're under the same guise as what you just said, Martin?
I'm not your lawyer, so you better ask your lawyer.
You're the one who just said that it needs to be done.
That's me as a city councilor saying I have an obligation to the city. I'm not your lawyer, and I'm not putting my malpractice insurance on the line for this.
Okay, so that's no answer.
It's an event.
Well, it would be- It's the answer that you need, because for what Martin's saying, there it is in writing, take that application, ask your insurance company or your club. And if they're saying that, yeah, we'll do this, and we'll sign on the dotted line, because when you put your signature on that, that states that you're willing not to, anything that happens is done against the city. It's in black and white.
That would be John Jay.
That would
It's
be
doing
John
the
Day.
event.
Wouldn't be the insurance, they're just providing insurance.
It'd be John David.
It would be John Jay's club.
So,
This club isn't doing anything in that event. Not making any money, not doing any profit.
Yeah, you said personal,
No.
sentences up there.
No dollar cost.
It's our responsible act, okay, I will, LLC. And present the situation.
But that first paragraph, also tells about the indemnify.
Yeah.
so that will, and it's this form that they fill out, or would it be something
Well,
else?
anybody that asks events up in the city, we use this, they fill those out, and then we come and vote. Yeah, they fill that out, give us all the
But that
information.
needs to be voted on this month because it's next month.
Well, what I'm asking, contingent on this stuff, you get it out, because we're out of time, this whole year has been crazy with this, with COVID and everything else, and,
We do have another council meeting for.
yeah,
But that doesn't give them enough time.
No, but I mean, you can get all the paperwork back.
right, right.
So it would be contingent on them
Yeah, if this qualifies for vacation, or if we need a specific,
Yeah.
we could go ahead and vote on that condition. If we don't do it, we can't have it. Of course, that's the law.
Same as what we did the last time, that's what we did, we said that we passed it, and they didn't know the answer.
And then you guys can now vote and say the hell with it. and let them do it.
That makes sense.
We're all here,
No.
it's nice having somebody with more legal knowledge than we have, because the only legal knowledge I have is reading Robert's rules and my experience in court. And I didn't understand what they're doing. They just let me get out of there. But, so we appreciate all of the caution and advice. So and it makes sense, I think,
Well,
we want everybody protected, but our responsibility is to protect the city. I think everybody knows that.
Right.
So,
that makes sense.
yeah, makes sense.
Can Elizabeth just initially insured?
Well, yeah, to the extent of the limits and the extent of the coverages, yes. But if there's something beyond the coverage, then if one of their people gets drunk and runs over somebody,
Cripples them.
then it might be outside of the coverage. Because, and it could be almost considered, or let's say somebody gets mad at you, John, and runs over you. That's intentional act, that's not covered by insurance.
So a blanket indemnity.
That would suffice in this instance.
Can I make a motion?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve their request with, they have to give us
Contingent on
contingent
insurance
on
coverage,
insurance company
proof, summary page, and
and
the
the
indemnity clause.
identification. form. Does that cover it all?
I think so. Sure, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
And then he'll have everything back to us by
Yes.
next council.
As a matter of fact, like I said, the insurance has been dealt with as we speak. I'm gonna shoot a text to the guys as soon as this meeting's over, which I think that'll be in the next minute or so. And then they'll get on that. They've already done the paperwork with Fraser Insurance. And I'll say that one other thing you guys have to do, 2 points of contact that I have was the race coordinator and and another race coordinator. I'm also in touch with the president of the snowball. So we'll get them to fill this out.
Yeah.
I got one more thing to say, and it's not debatable, it's just information. There's been a huge food donation that has been given over to the library. It's the end of the month. If you know someone who's on public assistance and needs food, it's there. Have them go get it. You don't have this happen very often, but I took like 4 big containers full of food and put it over there. So it's there if people need it. Okay?
Great,
And
thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Second, all in favor? Aye. Guys, thank you for coming.
Renee.
Yeah.